Hello and welcome. So let's continue working on the front of our character's hair. And I'll be creating the hair in three parts. So first, let's start with this nice little curve that goes around like that. And remember, the secret to using the pen tool is to use less points as you can. So I'll start from here and stop around here. And what I'll do is to pull this till it's kind of aligns with this shape right here. And trust me when I tell you, we can actually achieve this curve right here with just these 2 points. So I'll just move this up a bit so I can see and zoom out a little bit so we can see the second bezier handle, and we'll just drag this to make sure it let's see, I just want to put this down around here because that's where the hair ends based on our design. So I'll drag this here, and for this point I'll just pull this slightly over here, and we can drag this down, not rotating but just down a bit, and you can see that's how you can really play around with this till it gives you a nice indication. So that's going to be point 1. So how do we create this other section and continue this curve, because we're actually not done? So I'll move to the pencil tool, and this will help me create this nice little curvy sections. So hit the pencil tool, make sure your width is on 2 and you don't have use fill, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Now you can see we have this point selected. I'll go over to the node tool, select this point. In case it's not selected, select this point. Now we'll jump over to our pencil tool, zoom out a little bit, and let's start drawing this little curve. So I'll start from here and just follow along calmly and nicely, no tension. Think about birds and bees, and we actually stop over there. So now you can actually see we have 2 curves. We have this one and we have this one, and that's a problem. But if you follow along in the course, in the section where we talked about the pencil tool, we actually see that's not really a problem. It's nothing at all. So how do we fix that? First, let's head over to the node tool and let's select these 2 curves together. So with the first one selected, you can remember you can always select a point by clicking on that shape. I'll hold Control and click on the next one. Sorry, I'll select that again and hold Shift and select this one. So now I have these 2 points selected. So let's zoom in to where these 2 points are actually touching each other. So let's zoom in. It's actually right here. So you can actually see these 2 points. They're touching each other here. So I'll just drag a little selection around. Now these 2 points are selected. All I have to do is now go up and say join curves. So we've joined this curve. So now if I click on this, see what happens? We have that curve and it stops here. So now that it has stopped there, let's go ahead and create this section and continue drawing from this section. So I'll hit over to the pencil tool, and I'll just go over here and just do the same thing. I'll just go over here like that and then create a nice little curve, and then keep going and going and going till it meets up this section. So I'll select these 2 curves. Or before I do that, I just want to adjust the tip. So we can just zoom in, go over here, and I'll just select this one and kind of like rotate it. Select this one. We can even get rid of this excess point. So I'll delete that. So you can see we have these 2 sections here. I'll just drag this one over here like that. So you can see it's totally nice. So I'll select these 2. So I'll hold Shift and click here. And just where we have these 2 points here, I'll just drag a nice little marquee selection, and I'm going to join these curves together like that. And remember, we have one last section. We need to join these 2 tips right here. So this tip and this tip need to be joined together. And if to do that, it's very straightforward. Just drag it over on the red one and release, and that's it. So now you can see we have a nice little complete curve for the character's hair, and we can group them together. So we can group the front and the back. So I'll click on this, hit Control, click on this, hit Control G. I'll call this the front hair first before I group it. So I'll just say front underscore hair, and then hit Control, and then hit Control G, and let's just say hair. So now that I have that hair, what I can now do is to create these additional sections. They are going to be straight up, very simple. Lots of ways we can do this. We can either use the node tool or the pen tool. It depends. So first, let's use the pencil tool. So I'll start with this one and just create a nice little shape that follows this shape like that. So that's one. So the next one, I'll just use the pen tool. So I'll hit P and I'll create a triangle. And then next I'll hit the node tool and just drag this here and push this here. If the tip is too sharp, we could just hit that and hit convert to smooth. So now what we can do is to move. It's actually so small. So let's just zoom in and move down on it. It actually has handles. So I want to grab one of those handles. So let's go over here, click that, and you can see we can drag the handle and push. So you can see we can still create that nice little shape we always wanted. This one I might need to adjust. So that's one issue I have with the pencil tool. It creates a lot of unnecessary points you might not really need, and then we have to adjust our shape just to make sure it matches the design we have. Now I'll just drag these handles, push this one up like that, and there you can see we have the second shape for the hair. I think we have another point we don't need. I'll just delete that, and oops, let's undo, and we'll just move this point like that. It's being naughty, so let's drag our handles like so. I think that's super fine. It's nothing, we don't really need to, put much pressure on ourselves on this one, but just to show you that you can actually have that point and make that point as smooth as you want, because you have a lot of detail. You can zoom in as much as you want, and I want this to be just aligned here, because if we add a fill, I don't want it to be like outside, so I just want to line it up with that hair shape. Let's push this so we stick with our design. I can actually see, so that's so straightforward, nothing too complex. That's how we do that. And then finally, let's add the third hair shape. For the third hair shape, I'm going to cheat. I'll just hit Control J to duplicate that. Hit our move tool, drag this to the bottom, and I'll hit the node tool to just adjust it like that till it looks like our shape right here. We'll just push this over here, drag this one, push this back in. You can actually see the pen tool is a very fun tool to use. You can actually get away with illustrating everything. In fact, seriously, everything with just the pen tool. But it's so much fun. I'll just leave it here. So we'll call these three groups. I'll just group them together. So I'll hold Shift, hit this, and then hit Control G. And let's call this let's call it triplets. So I'll call that triplets, and I'll open the hair group, and I'll drag the triplets like that on top and close the hair group. So now you can actually see, if we zoom out a bit and turn that off, you can see we have our hair group. We may need to adjust some of those points, but I kind of like it like that, how it is. So thank you very much for watching. Let's keep on creating our character, and congratulations, we're done with the face. Let's go ahead and group everything together. So I'll hold Shift, click on the other face group, hit Control G, and I'll call that face underscore all, because the face has the hair front and hair back. And remember, we're still going to come back to our groups and add more fills and designs so we can continue working on our character. So thank you very much for watching. In our next section, we'll be working on parts of the body and moving on.